Welcome to the channel. If you are new to the channel, then you and I have something in common because so am I. This is my very first foray into YouTube sort of talking head videos. I've done a lot of different things in my life, but this is not one of them until now. If it endures, remains to be seen. We'll see what happens. But this is just an experiment for me. I'm going to play around with it. I'm going to play around with publishing it, play around with maybe doing a little bit of editing. My thing with YouTube, I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and I think that most people prefer the unedited kind of raw style of video that you get on YouTube. At least that's my preference. So my videos will probably be fairly unedited and pretty raw, and like this one, probably just one take. So there's a lot of interesting things going on in the world right now and in our country. And one of the things that I want to talk about that's in a particular interest to me is the Second Amendment and 2A and our right to bear arms and the infringement on that right by some people in positions of power who are abusing that power and distracting from what's really important by attacking the rights of law-abiding citizens, which I think is not only is it not okay, but it's immoral, it's wrong, it's unjust. And I think that we need as many people out there advocating against that, but not just advocating against things. We can't just advocate against the things that we don't like. We have to advocate for something. We've got to be in favor of something, and we've got to be pushing in a positive direction. Seeing a lot more of that recently, and it really, really does my heart good to see the number of people that are out there, particularly after the spotlight that Virginia and the recent happenings in Virginia and with their legislative body trying to push through some ridiculous, disgusting gun laws. It's encouraging to see the pushback that we've gotten from that, and to see what I think is a positive momentum that 2A and Second Amendment advocates have in doing positive things for gun rights and for the culture that we have in this country and for our Constitution and the way it was designed and what it was designed to do. But I'm not going to go any deeper into that today. My intention today is to talk a little bit about what I do and things that interest me. And the thing that interests me right now is talking about carrying a sidearm, carrying a handgun, and carrying it every day. I believe that not only is it a right to carry a handgun, I think that it's an obligation to be prepared to defend ourselves. And I don't think that everyone needs to carry a handgun, but I do think that everyone needs to understand that you are your own first responder. You are responsible for your own self-defense. And we need to take that as American citizens seriously and be prepared to defend ourselves, whether it's by carrying maybe a sidearm like I do every day, or maybe just some pepper spray, or maybe just a tactical flashlight, something that it gives you an opportunity to defend yourself should you need to do that. And so specifically what I was going to talk about in this video is just show whoever watches it a few of the handguns that I have in my collection. And then I want to talk about the handgun that I carry, which may surprise you at the end of this video. So I'm going to start off by introducing this little beauty right here. Now this is a Smith & Wesson M&P 40. It's the 2.0 version. So it's the most recent iteration that Smith & Wesson has of their M&P polymer striker fired handguns. And it's a beautiful gun. I really, really like the Smith & Wesson M&P series. This gun in particular is the 40 caliber, and it's a lot of fun to shoot. It's a good shooting gun. It's a good handling gun. It's got enough weight and enough girth to it that you can get a good full firing grip on it, and you can really pop off some good shots with it. I have put a TLR1 light on it, and because it does have the bottom rail and it accepts a light or anything else that's rail mountable just fine. I like this one with the light. And I do carry this gun from time to time, but it is not my everyday carry. I considered it when I first got it. I considered carrying this gun every day, but currently it's not. It might be someday, but it's not right now. But it is a good handgun. And this is a gun that I can talk more about in a later video. I've had some experience behind the trigger with it. I do like 40 caliber quite a bit, but I prefer 9mm. And that's the caliber that I carry in my everyday carry gun. So after the Smith & Wesson, let's see here. I think that I'll bring another 40. This is the FNC FNS 40. And this is also a really shootable gun. It's not entirely different than the Smith & Wesson. They have a similar trigger style, which is this right here, this trigger safety. This one happens to have, which the Smith & Wesson does not have, this one happens to have a manual safety, which is ambidextrous. So it's on both sides, and it does have a manual safety. Now, a lot of guys don't like to carry a weapon that has a manual safety on it. Some people like it. I go either way. Quite frankly, the gun that I have been carrying for the last several years does have a manual safety on it, as does this one. I train a manual safety, so when this safety is on, I train that when I draw and I come up and I'm ready, my thumb is just constantly sweeping for that safety to make sure it's off. Now, some people will say that you can carry a gun with a manual safety and leave the safety off. And you can do that. And if I carried this gun, that's probably is how I would do it. But you still have to train to sweep the safety off when you come on, because you never know when a safety can get bumped on accident. This safety, as far as safety goes, I like. It's an okay safety. I would prefer if it didn't have it, but it works fine. I like the sights on this gun. I like the trigger on it. Actually, the Smith & Wesson trigger I think is superior to this FNS, but it's a nice gun and it's in the 40 caliber. Again, I prefer 9mm. So those are the only two 40s we're going to talk about today. So the next gun that I will bring up is, well, let's see here. Let's bring up this one. This is a Glock 19 Gen 5. And this gun's a little bit more decked out than the other ones. This one is a Gen 5, the MOS version, which has obviously the plate. It comes with the plate factory installed that you can remove, and then you can put an optic on this. I have on this particular one the Vortex Venom, and it's a red dot sight. You're probably all familiar with it, or most of you are. This one also has the TLR7 light on it, which is a little bit different. And maybe what I can do is just compare those for you real quick, just for the sake of comparing the lights. So again, this is the Smith & Wesson 40 caliber, and this is the TLR1. And what this one has are this little toggle right here. And it actually has it on each side, so that if you activate it with you can activate it with your trigger finger when you're coming up resting here, or you can activate it with your thumb right here. So when you activate it with your trigger finger, it's a switch that stays on. You can hear it click, and it stays on. If you activate it with your thumb on the non-ejection side, then it releases by itself. And I kind of pulled my thumbnail up there a little bit, but it doesn't click. It doesn't stay on. It releases by itself. And on this one, if you double tap it, it strobes. So again, that's how that one works. The TLR7, which I have on this Glock, is a little bit different. And it's the same way. It can be activated either with your trigger finger on the ejection side of the handgun, or with your stabilizing finger on this side. So you can press that and it comes on, and you can press that and it turns off. On either side, on this one, one press is a switch that keeps the light on and then turns it off. And this one does not have a strobe feature. Again, you can see the Vortex Venom. I'm not going to talk about these guns. I'm not going to go into great depth on them, but I just wanted to show them and talk a little bit about why I use the ones that I use. Now this one, when it was set up with this Vortex Venom, I also got these suppressor height sights for it. And this sight's a little bit lower than it is on the other 9mm that I'm going to show you, that has a red dot optic on it as well. It's actually the same red dot optic. And so I don't like the way that this one co-witnesses. It does co-witness, but boy, when you get it down on the target, it's just barely there, and I don't like that. I prefer when they co-witness about in the center of the red dot sight. So this is the Glock 19. This, if you're watching this channel, you probably know Glocks very well. You might know them better than I do. This is the Gen 5. This is the Gen 5 iteration that does have the front slide serrations. And it's a great gun to shoot. It's a pleasure to shoot, but it's not the gun that I carry every day. I use this right now for a range gun. I do carry it from time to time, but not very often. This one also has an aftermarket Steel City trigger on it, and a few other things that I've upgraded, but it's not my everyday carry gun. So since we're on that topic, we'll go on to the next gun that I have that has a red dot on it. And this, like that 40, this is an FNH, and this is the 509 tactical iteration. This happens to be chambered in 9mm. And this is a good gun to shoot. It's a good gun. I like the way that it feels in the hand. I like the way that it presents. This one came, actually, I bought this one from the factory with the suppressor height front and rear sights on it, as well as the Vortex Venom red dot. I had to install the red dot myself, but the sights came pre-installed. And this is a nice gun, and I know a lot of people who really like these guns. For whatever reason, the FNs aren't my favorite guns to shoot. They're great range guns, and they're accurate. I think they're very reliable. They've got good texture and good stippling on the grips. But if I had to choose between, say, this and this, if they were both in 9mm, or even if this one being a 40, I would choose the Smith & Wesson. I just like the way I shoot them better. I shoot those guns better. So, but the FNH 509 Tactical, it's a good gun, and I enjoy shooting it. And this is probably not a gun, though, that will stay in my collection for a long period of time. I will probably sell it. This one also happens to have the threaded barrel, which came from the factory. This is a factory barrel, and this barrel protector that's on here right now would allow you to remove and install a can, a suppressor of whatever you would like to, whatever you've got for a 9mm to use on that for a suppressor. So it is kind of a neat gun. It's a cool looking gun, and it's fun to have in the collection, but it probably won't stay there for long. So a couple others that I've got laying around. This one's a lot of fun. This is the first non-striker fired gun that I have. This is the Sig Sauer P229 Elite Scorpion, and it is a hammer fired gun. So this gun is probably one of the nicest striker fired guns I have in my collection. These guns are not cheap, and you cannot buy this gun anymore. Sig does not make them anymore. But to shoot this gun is just a joy. It has the decocker, which is on the side right here, and it will decock that gun like that. It's a joy to shoot. Feels good in the hands. It has great texture on the grip, and it's a beautiful, beautiful gun. I like this gun quite a bit, and I enjoy shooting it quite a bit. Came factory with night sights, which are great. They're tritium night sights, and they work very, very, very well. So this is not a gun that I carry, probably not a gun that I've never carried this gun. I do have a holster for it, a Kydex holster, but I use it at the range, but I don't carry this gun. This is probably a $1,200 or $1,300 gun, if I remember correctly, and it is not one that I intend to carry. But I do enjoy it, probably keep this gun in my collection for a while. This one also has an aftermarket trigger on it as well. The trigger that came with these is the scooped rounded trigger, and I put a flat trigger in this one, and works really, really well. The trigger on this gun is fantastic. It breaks, I think it's under 4 pounds, at where this one will release the hammer. And this also has a threaded barrel. Barrel protector came with it. And it is a wonderful, marvelous gun to shoot. And it could be carried. It's a good size for carry, but it's not a gun that I would carry. So I'm going to talk about one more. And this is kind of a different deal. And it gets me a little bit closer to talking about the gun that I carry. The one I'm going to talk about right now is the Taurus G2 S. Now this gun you can pick up for around 200 bucks, maybe a little more. Sometimes if you're careful, a little bit less. I have a lot of experience with these guns. I've been shooting Tauruses for a long time. This one has the manual safety on it right there as well. It is not ambidextrous. It's got a good positive click to it. And I will tell you that I like these Taurus G2 series a lot. This is not the gun that I carry, but I would carry this gun. This is a great gun to carry. It's a great size. The S is subcompact. This is a little bit smaller than any of the other guns that I've shown today. And this is a gun that has decent factory sights on it. I would put night sights on it if I was going to carry it. But these are great guns. They're reliable. This one has a trigger safety and the manual safety. So I'm not going to go too much further into this particular gun because now I want to talk about the gun that I carry. And that is my Taurus PT-111 G2 Millennium. I've been carrying this gun for a long time, and this gun is actually loaded and ready to fire because I do carry one in a chamber. So I'm going to dechamber that right now and make this gun safe. And it is safe. This gun does have on the non-ejection side, it does have the manual safety. And I train to sweep this safety off every time I draw. Very positive click. This gun has probably 15,000 rounds through it, 12 to 15,000 rounds. I've documented several thousand, and I've documented well under half of what I've fired through it. If you look at it, you can see the wear. That's mostly holster wear from it. It's actually, the finish has been pretty durable considering that I've carried this gun, there's some wear right there, for years and years and years. And well, years and years. I've probably carried this gun for about 4 years now, every day. There's been a few exceptions to that. I do have a couple others that I carry. I've got a Ruger, which one is it? It's the small Ruger. It's the LCP2 that I carry in 380. And I carry that because the way that I carry is I carry outside the waistband on my strong side hip. And that's how I carry almost every day. If I'm going to appendix carry, I carry, usually I carry the LCP2. It's a little bit smaller and it's comfortable for me. And I have some reasons that I think for me are very valid for carrying the way that I do. So the gun is in about the 4:30 to 5 o'clock position. I have some movement there. I can put the holster where I want it. But that's where I carry, and I carry every day just like that. And I'll go over those reasons in another video, why I carry the way that I carry. A lot of guys these days are carrying appendix, and I get it. It's an effective way to carry. It's probably a little quicker to draw, and it has some definite advantages. But none of the advantages that I've seen for me as a carrier have overcome the advantages of carrying the way that I carry now. Part of it for me is just that's the way I've always carried. Even when I carry open, which I rarely do, but I used to quite a bit, that's where I was accustomed to drawing from and where I trained to draw from and where most of my practice on the range and dry fire practice has come in as carrying. So anyway, if you like this video, good. It's a little bit longer than what I had initially expected it to be, but it's my first shot. I'd like to keep them kind of short, so I'm not taking up too much time making them and too much of anyone's time who happens to stumble across them and be foolish enough to watch them. But I'll do another one perhaps soon. So now that you've watched this and now that I've done it, neither one of us are quite as new to this channel anymore. Thanks for watching.